Alright, so we're trying to get this old 57 Willis running. Just about got everything ready for the new manifolds, when we found that the exhaust manifold, it always had a leak, and I think it was because we had a stud that was broke. But then we found this, right, and that rolls all the way to the inside. Now we're not going to be able to weld much on the inside, but I think we'll be able to groove this. And well, let me show you how and what we're going to weld this with. Our friends at RockMount, we do a lot of work with, has a TIG wire called Jupiter, and well, we'll show you more about that here in a little bit. So we can't just leave that crack in there, burr it out a little bit, and then well, we'll get to welding. Okay, so we'll get this cleaned up and then show you how we're going to weld her up. Alright, so got it all routed out, got it all cleaned up. We'll get it heated up and then get it welded. So we're using this RockMount Jupiter Tig. And I'll leave something in the description where to talk about this. But it's made for cast iron and that kind of stuff. Now this is old cast iron. This is from '57. Who knows how long it's been around? So, it's not clean welding, if you will. So this may not be the prettiest thing in the world, but so it says get it up around 500 degrees. And then we'll get out the welding blanket, and that way after I weld it, I can drape it over it so it cools off slowly. Alright, so it calls for 500 degrees and slow cool and then some light peening. So I got a ball peen hammer, a machinist hammer. We'll lay some weld down and give it some light peening. We're not going to beat the crap out of it, but we'll see what it does. Alright, so I know there's voids in that, so we're going to grind off a lot of that, because it was just disintegrating the minute the arc hit it, which I ran into this before. You just got to slowly build up a base material, and then you can fill. What happens is it just goes away. Alright, so working it down, I can see where we need to put some more weld. And then I'll hand work that flat area on the top of the gasket. So what you do is you just lay some rod in there, and you'll have to feed that rod because it's going to go like crap. And at least in my opinion, if you think you're going to stack dimes on this, you're crazy. Because the minute you touch it with heat, it just goes away. But the Jupiter will hold this together. We also did a transfer case on the channel. I'll leave a link in here about that, because it literally was broken. I think it was 2 pieces. We welded it all back together. Alright, so it's going to take you a while, right? So you're going to fill it, peen it, sand off a layer of it, not much. Don't go all the way back down to cast, otherwise you've not done anything. But you're going to have to watch your heat, because what happens if you start getting it too hot, you'll watch the cast just blow out totally. And what'll happen is you can't hardly see, but all those little nasties get sucked up into your cup. So after this, I'll have to change my screens. I had a different cup I was using. It's a fairly new screen. I don't know if you can see that, but that was a clean screen from everything just popping. And that old cast is nasty, but real light heat, right? You might be able to give it 200 amp, but if you start going in there too heavy, I've got it set on 150 right now, and I'm feathering that pedal. I'm just watching that cast just light up a little bit. If I stay in it too long, it'll pop, and it'll almost blow the little bit of weld I've got back up onto tungsten. So keep it hot, and then wrap it up, and in the morning I'll show you what we're gonna do. All right, and let it cool overnight. These little thermal blankets, you can get these at Harbor Freight for almost nothing. Now, before you say, man, that looks like pure dog crap, it's not going to be stacking dimes. That old cast iron was cast, and I got to correct myself. It's cast iron, not cast steel. Most things today are cast steel, and that old cast iron has a ton of inclusions in it. So I did a little test path on the air intake. It welded pretty good in some of the thick areas. But you got to remember that old exhaust manifold's got all that carbon blowing through it, and you know it's not new, right? It was cast sometime in the 50s. You know, all of that exhaust gases just permeating through that thing. So this thing just it's not going to weld like really nice cast steel or normal steel. But if you got some cast iron or even cast steel, it's broke or crack, I'll leave a link here for the transfer case I welded back together with this RockMount Jupiter. The toes of it, it's always going to look a little funky because it's hard to get that toe wetted out where it's not like blowing out some of that nasty, I'm going to call it sand or whatever, when they originally casted this. But you will be able to get it stuck back together. You're not stacking dimes. Check out the RockMount Welding Jupiter rod. I'll leave a link in the description. Check out other RockMount stuff. How you liking the old Willie stuff? So hopefully we'll get this old dude, get it all back on, and well, got some rides planned for that thing. But go out, fix your stuff. Don't let it just sit in the garage and collect dust. Get it out, use it. That's how they stay alive. See you here in the next video. Thanks for watching.